me Antoniades, and I'm the proud brother of Daniela, Danny, as we call her sis. And I brought two things up here to help me today. One is Dave's Bible, which his kids gave me. They allowed me to see his Bible. And they allowed me to see his journal. And you can learn a lot about someone by reading their Bible and their journal. What have they underlined? What have they highlighted? What have they circled? It gives you a glimpse into the man he was, the man he wanted to be. Knowing this was going to be emotional, I also brought a crutch. I brought a picture here. Now, I want something that's going to make me smile if I start to break down, and it's going to happen. So I said, let me bring a picture. First I thought, well, you know what? I'll just sprinkle in some of Dave's jokes in this speech. But we all know that's not appropriate. So I said, let me lean on this picture instead. So here's the picture I chose. This is a picture that I love. Makes me laugh every time I see it. And it's a good portrait of Dave. You can learn a lot here. First of all, here's Dave and his boys wearing their bathing suits. He loved the water, was always near it. There he is again. And he bought his two sons a lollipop. Right? Here on the right, you have Chris, sweet Chris, loving his lollipop, loving his dad sitting on his lap. And you have Nick sitting there. He loves his dad too, but he really loves his lollipop. And there's Dave in the middle, calm, content, being with his boys, when everybody knows that he's just a few seconds away from being showered with Nick's slobber as he's making out with his lollipop. But that's Dave. And then what's even more Dave, if you go to the next one, they recreated this picture a couple years ago. That shows his sense of humor, and that's the role he played in the family. So that's classic Dave for you. So I have two sisters. I didn't have a big brother, but I've known Dave since I was 4 years old, so he was my big brother. So thank you, Debbie, for sharing your big brother with me. And like a big brother's supposed to do, I guess, he picked on me and bullied me. He pulled down my pants in front of a room full of people. He picked me up, dumped me upside down in a toilet and flushed. That's called a swirly. And he also beat me so bad at sports games that I would be crying and he'd be laughing at me. So thanks, Debbie, for sharing your brother with me. But he also did what most big brothers are supposed to do. He was a role model for me and someone I can look up to in many ways. And that's what I want to share with you today, what I learned from Dave. Dave was always, he was always around the conversation. He didn't love being the center of attention, but he was always around the conversation or the social situation. He would listen more than he would speak. But when he did speak, you wanted to hear it. Because he was either really wise, ridiculously funny, or awkwardly crude. But whatever it was, you wanted to be there to hear it. That's the type of guy he was. As you've heard already, he was very generous man. He worked all his life. From the time I knew him, he was already in high school by the time I got to know him. He was working at a gas station, and he even worked through his terrible disease to provide for his family and give them security. But he's also very generous with what he was given. And I found some things in his journal that I want to read to you. He wrote, "Do not be arrogant or put ultimate hope in your wealth. Enjoy what God has given you." And then in his Bible here, he circled 1 Timothy 6:18. "Use your money to do good, always being ready to share with others what God has given you." You've already heard stories of how generous Dave was. Sis and Dave and Danny. Everyone wanted a Dave and Danny invite to the boat or to the party because they knew there was going to be plenty of food, plenty of drink, plenty of fun, plenty of laughs, and they would never accept or expect anything in return. It was their gift to all their friends and family. Dave's the captain, and he played that role in our family. And the captain's role was to make sure everyone's taken care of and they're heading in the right direction. And that's what he did for all of us. For his sister, for his parents, for my parents, he was the go-to guy for many things. Financial advice, legal counsel, healthcare planning, plumber, HVAC guy, the toilet's clogged, anything, comfort, they'd call him. Dave would answer, and he would make it a priority. And even more so, he was planning for them ahead of what they even thought they needed. He was already planning out their future for them. He was taking care of them. For his niece and his nephew, Christina and Jordy, he was a father figure. And even more so when they lost their real father a few years back. He stepped up and filled that gap. And Jordan going through critical ages, high school and college as a young man, Dave was a mentor to him. For my family, the Antoniades family, he was the rock, and he was our mediator. We've had a share of drama in this family, and Dave was always there to offer some calming advice, great wisdom, and some tough love when we needed it. We always wanted to listen to him. He would sit back, observe the situation, not judge, and always provide some pragmatic solutions to often diffuse volatile situations. He was the rock of our family, keeping it together. For his kids, you've heard already stories. He was the do anything dad. He wanted to be involved in their lives. Early on, that was ball games, gymnastics meets, and whatnot. He wanted to be involved. Later on, it turned into vacations and cruises and house, boat parties and so forth. He created experiences where he could spend time with his kids, and he taught them valuable life lessons during that. And he planted his seeds in there. So, if you want a legacy of Dave, look at his amazing kids. Because in there you'll see mature, calm, respectful, great sense of humor, reliable, non-judgmental, and family-focused. That's the legacy he left. But the biggest thing he modeled for me and many in this room, I believe, is his marriage. Okay, I need a lollipop, please. What flavor is this, Nick? This is a wonderful flavor, whatever it is. All right, I'm good. So, it's easy to be a great husband early in your marriage during the newlywed years. That's easy, right? Starts off great. It's also easy and sometimes, unfortunately, expected that you get lazy late in your marriage. Right? I'm guilty of that. I've gotten lazy in my marriage. Dave never got lazy. I see some of you nodding your head. I don't know if you agree that I'm lazy or he's not. His marriage was incredible. I had a front row seat to this marriage for 40 years, and I never saw Dave Jordan get lazy in his marriage. He still showed her the adoration, respect, and love that he showed her when he first met her when they were teenagers. And he was never afraid to show his affection to her in any situation. And when I looked at his Bible and his journal, most of the stuff circled in his Bible were about marriage. So although I say this man was the greatest husband I've ever seen, he wanted to be even better. Here's some of the things I found in his journal. He wrote, "Give her 100%, no matter how much she gives back." In his Bible, Ephesians 6:33, he circled, "Each man must love his wife as he loves himself." I believe Dave took that above and beyond. I believe he loved his wife more than he loved himself. His love was inspiring. I thank you, Dave, for sharing that. My favorite Bible verse is James 1:2. It's always been my favorite verse, and it says, "Consider it pure joy when you face trials and tribulations of any kind." Consider it pure joy when you face trials and tribulations of any kind. And that Bible verse really got hard to listen to in May when Dave was diagnosed. And I've spent many hours asking God, how do you find joy in this? My brother is suffering, going through a disease, taking its toll on his body. How do you find joy in all our friends and family grieving with him and going through this? Where, God, is there joy in that? And it confused me. And when I got Dave's Bible this week after he passed, it was a bookmark. pulled out the bookmark. James 1:2. Consider it pure joy when you face trials and tribulations. And then God started to reveal to me what this meant. The fact that Dave Jordan had a Bible, and he had a thirst for it, and he was circling things and writing things, and he had a journal, and he was trying to learn as much as he could about the Lord. There's joy. That's great joy in my book. And the fact that he loved his Bible study and would participate and soak it in, and he ultimately made that decision to give his life to Christ, that's great joy. Because the even greater joy after that is then we know Dave's going to be in heaven. That's great joy. That's the long-term joy that God's looking for. And although as painful as it seems, there's joy in the fact there's a lot of people in here suffering. Because while you're doing this, I hope God's tapping you on the shoulder, pulling you closer into a relationship with Him. Because if you do, and we all make that decision to go to accept our Lord, we'll be in heaven with Dave. So God has used Dave's life, his disease, his suffering, his death, his legacy, and this service to reach all of you. And that's joy. And that's what I know Dave would want. And I know that because it was in his journal. In his journal, he talked about his family and friends and wanting to reach them for God. And many of you in the crowd today, he mentioned by name in his journal. So I thank you, Dave. And thank you, Peggy, for raising a wonderful son. It's been a role model for me. I love you, Dave. And I know I'll see you in heaven. Save me a seat. And save me a strawberry lollipop.